Okay, so what do you believe the England cricket team's rise to number one in the World Test rankings is down to?
Well, firstly, I think they brought in the new coaching staff, which is Andy Flower. I think he's played international cricket himself for Zimbabwe, and he's brought all that experience that he's got into the changing rooms, and this has made them a better team. And I also believe that the England team at the minute is quite a tight knit group. Like, the team cohesion seems like it's very good in the changing rooms. Therefore, obviously making it easy to play on the cricket field as a team.
Okay, so apart from the coaching staff, has anything else changed over the past 10 years from when we were quite a poor side to now that we're number one, do you believe?
Yeah, I think firstly it's the type of coaching and training that you're doing. Firstly, it's like back in 10, 20 years ago, you are mainly on your batting, your bowling, and your fielding these attributes. Whereas now, in the winter, you go into training and it's more paramount to be physically fit rather than, or as well as the skills of batting and bowling. So in the winter, you're in the gym 3 or 4 times a week. You're eating the right food. Whereas in 10, 20 years ago, you just heard stories of cricketers all drinking and going out partying and stuff. Whereas now you're more of an athlete.
Yeah. So has anything changed for you coming through the ranks, or has it always been this professionality from you?
Well, as when you're growing up, you're not really thinking about, say, you're training all the time and you cricket. Whereas as you're growing up and you're wanting to become a better player and for a career for you, you're thinking, well, obviously I've got to be more intense in your training. You're training more. You want to get better and better. I'm not saying I wasn't like that when I was younger, but I think it's become more of a thing now.
Okay, so why do you think that cricket can reach these heights and get to number one, whereas other sports, notably the national sport football, seems to find it so difficult?
Well, football, I think, because it's the main sport in England, it's got high expectation to do well. I think it's obviously more pressure maybe for them to perform well at these tournaments that do. I say like the World Cup, not really that do anything in the World Cup, semi-final at best. But in cricket, I think the teams have central contracts, so all the players train with England, just England all the time. Rather than within the football, it's just like you go back to your club and then every so often you come back and play for England. So I think maybe if England did have these central contracts like the cricket do, maybe they might do better in these World Cups and Euros and stuff.
Okay, so how important do you think the element of homegrown talent coming through from county clubs is to creating a successful national team?
It's obviously a very important thing to look to the future, playing younger kids in your county stuff. This mainly making your England team for the future.
Okay, so how successful Derbyshire, your county, at bringing through young players that will help us have a successful national team?
I don't know the actual stat from academy to first class, but I know it's very high. Because I know there's a few players like Ross Whiteley, Dan Redford, Tom Boyton. They've all played first class cricket. Jake Needham. They've all played first class cricket and they've all been in the academy. And at the minute, you've got 2 representatives in England under 19s that are in the Derbyshire Academy, which are Tom Knight and Peter McGowan. And this tells you that our academy is doing very well, and that we're obviously doing the right things to produce these young players.
Okay, so is there any particular county that you believe helps the national team the most by providing it with quality players?
No, not really anymore. I'd say now that everyone's such good counties and you get players all over the place that are playing for England these days. You say a small county like Derbyshire producing 2 players in England under 19s just shows you how different all the different England teams are.
Okay, so what role does academy level cricket and youth level cricket in general have on creating a national team? Is it the most important thing? Or?
Yeah, I'd say it's the most important thing because every England player at the minute's been through an academy or a county setup to get where they are now. So I'd say it was pretty important for the academy to be.
Okay, so what role do you believe grassroots cricket has on England's rise to number one and has on our success?
Yeah, I think it's the same reason really that as you say, every cricketer needs to start somewhere, and it's very important that they start very early, getting your technique very early before the ages of, say, starting at 8, 9. This is where you produce your best quality players when they've got their technique before, as you say, these teenage years. And this, obviously, as I said, like they've all been through some grassroots level, some form.
Okay, so everyone seems to have an opinion on why England have risen to number one. What role do you think the lack of quality opposition has played in England's rise to number one? There seems to be a lot of talk about that.
There is a sense of lack of opposition, but obviously because the Australians have lost such great players like Glenn McGrath and Shane Warne, and say India aren't as good as they used to be, but you've got to give credit to the England boys for winning the test, like humiliating the Indians 5-0 and stuff like that. Test cricket, you've got to give them a pat on the back for what they've done, to be honest, rather than saying that the opposition was rubbish.
Fair enough. And finally, what do you think must be done for England to remain at number one? Obviously, the more difficult part than even getting there.
Yeah, obviously keep doing what they're doing. Yeah, they're obviously training hard in the winter, going over to these countries such as India in the winter, winning series. You just got to keep doing what they're doing. Keep training hard. Keep producing these young players and bringing them into the team gradually, so that we can remain number one for a while.
Okay, thanks very much for your time.